dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow.
Welcome to Message Reveal. Message Reveal identifies a vibe, a message, or a story told through lyrics of a song. And you guys, if you rock with me every Monday, you know what I do and how I do. I tell you a few things about our special guest. But before we get started, subscribe and rock with us every Monday and check out what we're all about. So, as I say always, I tell you a few things about our special guests, and I'm super excited to dive in and find out some really interesting things. But before we get started, let me tell you a few things about this young lady. One, she is born in, let me get this right, Marysville, California, but she was raised in Brownwood, Texas. She's also a mom, a widower, and she is a woman of God. You know, you can't go wrong with that. But last but not least, she's dedicated 26 years of service to the Dallas Police Department. You guys, please put your hands together and welcome my beautiful guest. She's retired Lieutenant Miss Regina Smith.
Thank you.
How are you, my dear?
Good morning, Miss Hallema. Thank you for having me. I'm very well this morning.
Oh, awesome. You look so beautiful. I just have to tell you that.
Well, you do too, my dear. You look gorgeous. Happy
Oh,
Friday.
thank you. Happy Friday to you. And I hope I did justice. Did I get everything correct as I list who you were? I know you have a plethora of things, but just the bullet points that I provided.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. So, let's dive into who you are. Just give us a little bit of who you are, who you see yourself as right now in this current moment.
Right now, I'm in a very good place. I look back on my life and my career, and Halima, I don't have any regrets. I have some memories that are very, sad, but I also have beautiful memories that are inculcated within my soul. And I look back on my past, and I'm so glad of the choices that I made.
I love that. I love that you can look back and you're glad with the choices that you've made. Speaking of choices, let's talk about your decision to become a police officer, especially we say this was what in the early 90s you begun, correct?
Actually, it was 1988, in February of 1988, when I joined the Dallas Police Department. I was a divorcee and a single parent, and I was working 2 or 3 jobs trying to make ends meet because I had a beautiful daughter that I was so determined to provide a good life for. And again, I was divorced, single parent. You know the story. Husband wasn't paying me any child support, and I was having to take from Peter to pay Paul.
Oh,
In Dallas, we have a black radio station. It's still there. It's KKDA, but it was also K104. And they advertised for, during this time, we had affirmative action, and they were looking for uh, minorities to join the police department. Well, guess what? My degree is in fashion merchandising. It's not in criminal justice,
wow.
but they actually accepted my degree when I applied, and that was a blessing in itself. So I don't care what people say about affirmative action. It took my life in a whole new direction, and I'm so glad that that was available to me because a fashion merchandise degree compared to a criminal justice degree, there is a big degree of difference. And so, but I was accepted, but it became the hardest task of my life just to get through the police academy.
Wow. So, okay, so you hear this announcement on the radio station, you're perked to say, okay, why not me? You go
Mhm.
and apply. You realize you don't have a criminal justice degree, but you do have a fashion degree. They said, okay, we'll take that. And
Yes,
now you said you've been challenged.
yes.
Let's talk about that challenge because we know life be lifing.
It sure does.
And in order for you to get to the other side, we have to penetrate that challenge. So, talk a little bit about that challenge and what brought you to a case that we're going to talk about. That you have a movie and everything surrounding that. So, I hope I didn't give you too much.
No, you didn't. You gave me the perfect segue, as a matter of fact. Life indeed does be life, and let me add this: haters do be hating.
Oh, come on, girl.
So when I walked in, the my first day at the police academy was a big challenge in itself, and it's very hilarious, but it really happened, and they did get some of it in the movie. But long story short, it was February 11th, 1988, and it was sleeting outside, cold, and freezing. And it was my first day to apply to the academy. And it's hard to navigate on sleet and ice.
Ooh,
And I had to go from one area like 45 minutes away to downtown Dallas, which I wasn't familiar with. And I slid all the way. I did everything I could have a wreck. But in my little mind, okay, I wasn't used to a paramilitary environment, didn't know what to expect. Remember, my degree is in fashion merchandising. It was cold outside, very cold. And I had this beautiful silver fox fur coat that one of my boyfriends had given to me. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity to wear it. So there I was in my fur coat, silver fox, with a beautiful suit on, with high heels and nails. I mean, I was ready back then. I was
okay.
young, 27, 28 years old, and I thought I was ready. Well, I got there 2 hours late because of the ice and snow. But in my mind, I thought everyone would be late because it was so treacherous. Well, when I walked into the police department door to go into the academy room, there was this big brusky officer standing there, and he was a black guy, but he had this mean look on his face, and he goes, "Are you Williams?" And I said, "Well, yes, I am." He goes, "The whole class has been waiting on you. You are late." And I said, "Step aside." I thought he was just giving me the. And I walked in the class, Halima, and all the heads turned to me. It was 56 other classmates, and they all turned, and the look on their face when they saw me, they were shocked to see here I was, a black female dressed to the nines, and here that most of them were white. Now, don't get me wrong, we had about 15 blacks in there, but the girls were rough cut and all that stuff. And how they were looking, and the other white females were turning their nose up, and I felt it as soon as I walked in. And he walked past me, and guess what? He was the class advisor. He goes, "You can be fired. I'm letting everyone know that you can be fired for being late on the Dallas Police Department. Do you understand that, Williams?" And I said, "Yes, sir." I was just shaking. He said, "Your seat is at the very back," because I was Williams and it was alphabetical. And I sat there, and at that moment, Halima, I was so shattered and embarrassed. I almost turned around. I had never been humiliated like that, and I felt so out of place. But I guess what? I thought about my daughter Nikki and how much I wanted to provide for her and how much we needed to pay the bills and put food on the table. And I stuck it out that day. And after that, they made it hard on me because I was very feminine, very soft spoken, was not used to all the rules and the physical requirements that they had. And it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life because they didn't make allowances because you're a female. You had to do the same physical exercises and meet those same challenges with the test, which were very daunting and very difficult. Civil service exams are not easy, and you had to pass. And this went on for like 9 months of training, but I made it.
Oh,
other stories that go along with it. Some of them were in the movie, but I made it through to graduate to be a police officer, and they placed me in the highest crime area of Dallas, which is Oak Cliff, Texas. And South Dallas and Oak Cliff are minority, where most of the crime is. And I was glad to be placed there because, number one, I joined the police department because I did want to provide a better environment for my daughter, but I also joined to help people. I really wanted to help all people, but specifically, I wanted to help people in the Black community because that's what the advertisement was for on KKDA. They were looking for minority officers because we were having all kind of racial issues back then. Believe me, we had serious racial issues between the police department and the Black community, as it is today still.
So this is a question I have wanted to pose to anyone in law enforcement
Mhm,
because it's what I would call the great divide.
mhm,
What I mean by that, one, you are a Black woman or African American woman
mhm,
and work for an institution that has that ability to choose based on race,
mhm,
to tailgate people based on race. How did you navigate those waters to be able to adjust? Because they said when
mhm.
you're black and blue, meaning no matter what it is, right or wrong, you are for the police department. How did you navigate those waters to be able to give the right justice out,
Mhm.
but not get caught up in that background of we're police and you have to support us?
Right. I say this sincerely to you and to your audience. The way that I navigated that was through prayer. I put God first then, and I put God first now. I started every day with a prayer to God to guide me and to let me be a servant to whoever He wanted me to walk within His will. And I did that. I was young, and I've always been that way. And I put God first, and every call, I prayed on every call. And you know what that did yield? It yielded humility to me. It yielded compassion and understanding because listen, I am African American. I'm biracial, but I'm African American by what you see and what I experienced. And I know how we were treated. And I tried to add understanding, compassion, and empathy on every call, not just to the minority, but to every call I went on, white, Black, Hispanic, whatever. I tried to treat people with dignity and respect, and that came from God.
Yes, I love that you offered that solution. I've never heard it put that way. You say, hey, before every call, everything I did, I tapped into my God source and said, God, I need you to guide me.
Yes.
And we know things could be happening on the left and right of you, but because you've already tapped into God and say, I need that support, this has navigated you through the 26 years
Yes.
of being on the police department. So I just want to go back just a little and dig a little deeper. You said something that really intrigued me. And because I love nice things. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely a lady. But I also can dress very, tomboyish kind of. I have both sides.
Uh-huh.
But one thing you said on the police department that they didn't tap into that energy of being feminine. Did you have to change or suffocate the femininity that you brought in? And we know it can be many levels of feminine. You could be feminine and strong, but did you have to suffocate a part of you in order to maintain?
Well, at the very beginning in the police academy, I had to succumb to all their rules, and I had to adjust. You know, I had to wear my hair slicked back. It couldn't touch your shoulders, and it made me look not very attractive. Your nails couldn't be long, no, very minimal makeup. And I didn't really like that, but I had to do it. And I was willing to do it because I knew what the end goal was. And so, but once I left the police academy and got in the street and got a better feel for police in general, I I stayed true to myself throughout my entire career. Yes, ma'am. Some of them did not like it. Some of the girls were, very. I'm not using any terms. I hope that don't offend, but
Say what you have to say.
well, they were very boyish and masculine, acting masculine, and turning their nose down on me. And it didn't affect me. I flicked them off my shoulder because I had to stay true to Regina. And I got also compliments, and I also got people that tried to emulate me throughout my career. So, you may not influence everyone. Everyone's not going to like you, but there are some that will try to be like you. And that's what I did see throughout my career. I saw some of those same police girls in my academy class that walked in there dressed like a dude, wearing boots, and I saw some of those same young ladies start wearing feminine outfits when they could, like when they became detectives, they would wear nice suits instead of, the typical khaki pants and shirt that some of the girls would wear. They dressed themselves up because I wouldn't let anything change me from being Regina. I did it with class. I didn't overdo it, but I definitely stayed true to Regina Smith.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that we have to give anybody, not just our babies. And yes, we do need to make adjustments sometime to get in because that's part of the requirements. But
Yeah,
as you said, which was masterfully done, as I got in and I got a feel for what it was able to adjust to things that work for me. And I
yeah,
think that's a really big point. We always want to, in my perspective, let people know that sometimes you will have some tugs and some adjustments that must be made in
right,
order to get into something. And I'm not saying change yourself because I'm a firm believer, be who you are, but adjustments do need to be made. That's what I'm taking from what you've said.
right, right, exactly.
So let me just tell you, girl, that music has
Mhm.
turned me all the way out in such a wonderful way. It has
Yeah.
been my counselor, it's been my supporter. Even when I need to go and take care of business, I have a song for everything.
Yes.
I say all of that to say we're going to get into our music back with you and then we'll come back. We'll go back and forth with your story. But can you identify a song that has either blessed you, distracted you, or provided some kind of perspective? But before you answer, there's a few rules to this.
Okay.
Now, if you can sing, I need you to sing your throat box out.
I'm not a singer.
But if you can rap, I
Uh,
want you to rap. You can come hard in the
oh,
paint. But if you cannot do either or, you have the ability just to say the lyrics. But I have
okay.
to feel it. You know, in the streets, they said 10 toes down. I have to feel the passion of what you're talking about. So I'll go back to my original question.
Okay.
Lessons, blessings, or distraction. Can you provide one of those?
To answer that question, I put a little thought in it. I can't sing it, but I think the words are, when I was young, I heard this song, and it's probably going to go over some of your audience's ears. But if they go back and listen to it, and it's been done from Andy Williams to Luther Vandross. So, but the title of the song is The Impossible Dream. Okay?
Mm.
And I will say a few of the lyrics, and they do certainly apply to me. And I put a lot of thought into this, and it really exemplifies life as I experienced it. So it starts out, it says, to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, and to run where the brave dare not go. Okay, that's the first one. How about this? To right the unrightable wrong, and to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for that heavenly cause.
Ooh, come on. That is what, I've heard that song. I've heard it many times, but the detail that you're providing right now is connected to resilience.
Yes.
Like no matter what's said, no matter what done, no matter who's there, you got to keep going. And I love that. What made you choose that particular song?
Well, I wanted to stay true to my early upbringing and what influenced me because in reality, Halim, I was a very good girl. I, I followed all the rules my mother taught me from going to church, and I remember listening to these beautiful songs. I was raised in the time when music was changing everything. We have gone from Jim Crow era into desegregating and Martin Luther King. I've been through it all. I don't want to tell my age, but I'm in my 60s now, honey.
Well, you
So,
look great.
well, thank you. But I've been through it all. And the music of the world at that time was poignant, and it stayed with me. I have other songs that I'm ready to share when you're ready to answer because they all help mold me into being confident as to who I am and what I wanted out of life.
Yes, I love that. I love that because, as I said before, I think during the pre-interview, that music is the great connector and we can use it how we choose to use it. It can benefit us or we can tap into something that may not benefit us, but music is the great connector.
Yes, it is.
With with that being said,
Mhm.
let's talk about your upbringing. You
Okay.
said you originally, now let me be very, very clear.
Uh-huh.
You said you were born in Marysville, California. I
Yes.
had never heard of. I had to look it up, and I found out that was Northern California.
It is Northern California, Twin Cities with Yuba City. And I was born there and my siblings were as well, but I was raised we left when I was like 3 years old. So I was taken to Brownwood, Texas, which is my father's hometown where his mother was. And we were raised there in Brownwood, Texas, which is Central West Texas.
Wow. So, what was the catalyst for you guys to move? Was it a job opportunity? Was it being close to family? What was the reason for the move from California to Texas?
Well, my father was in the military and he met my mother there in California where she lived. And of course, his mother and his upbringing was in Brownwood. And ultimately, they moved from California to be closer to his mother. And we were raised in that home.
Okay, okay. I always like to find the background for the movement, because everybody has a movement story, whether it's from down south to up north or up north to down south. So
Yeah.
I just like to have that background. With that being said, let's talk back about your journey and how you, um, let me get this right. Was a part of the process of solving the eyeball killer.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into deep, deep detail just because of the graphic nature, but we will offer my audience a platform, your platform, to go in and find more detail. But I would like for you to talk about a couple of things regarding that.
Okay.
One, your ability to talk to all walks of life in
Mhm.
order to discover this process. And number two, um, being able to use, we all have certain abilities. I want to know, did you have a natural instinct ability to lead you to solve that? Because I believe, yeah, the framework of what the police department have taught you, yes, that was there, but it was something innate in you that you knew how to connect one to two and three to four. We call it discernment in the church world.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you just talk about that process to solve it without going into deep, deep detail, but how you work with people of different walks?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, first of all, quickly going into it, I was still a young rook. I was still relatively a young rookie on the police department because all this happened in 1990, going into 1991. So I was still very young on the street, but I was very much the had the eye of all my supervisors because I was exceeding out in the field. And they put me on a special assignment in Oak Cliff on a walking beat in a very high crime area where prostitutes were. And part of me and my partner was John Matthews, and part of our assignment was to stop the prostitution that was going on in this 18 block area of Jefferson Boulevard, which is highly concentrated with small merchants that had their little mom and pop stores, but were integral to that community. So, the prostitutes and the pimps were on every corner, and the prostitutes were inundating the merchants area, and they were messing with the customers, stealing, And so my job was to walk that beat, which is so important, to get to know everyone in that around the surrounding area and that defined area. And I made a lot of arrests. Now, let me tell you, like I said, look here. These are some of the women that I arrested. I have
Oh,
saved all of my arrests, but let me tell
wow.
you, everyone that you see, they will tell you that I treated them with dignity and respect.
Wow.
I treated them, I did my job, but I did it where I didn't have to take away people's dignity and make them feel worse than the situation they were in.
I need to have a pause moment. I have
Okay.
a pause moment. I haven't said it yet,
Uh-huh.
but we have invisible pews. You can't see them, I can't see them, but they like, okay. You said something that is a lost art. Even though you did do something wrong and I do have to arrest you,
Hmm.
I will still give you dignity and respect.
Right. Right.
I think that's something that needs to be retrained
Hmm.
and reinstituted
Yeah.
because I've seen some, not all, because I don't believe in putting nobody in absolute, where not only that you're putting a person in a car, you're talking to them really ugly,
Right.
or you're not allowing them to pull their clothes up, they're exposed, different things like that. Where did you just innately come with that dignity and respect? Because I really, really like that energy of that.
Well, again, let me go back to it. Remember, I pray every day to God to guide me. And yeah, the police department, they so-called teach it to treat people with dignity and respect. But I often saw very early on in my career where they weren't doing it. And, it raised alarms with me. And I reported officers, look, if I saw them doing wrong, and that's part of the reason I stood out as a young officer. If I saw an officer doing wrong, I would report it. And I can give you instances where they have been disciplined because of that. But wrong, remember the song, to right the wrongs, know your purpose. I didn't come there just to be a pretty face. I came there to be a part of rebuilding our community. And if you teach me the right way to do it, which the police department does, and I see someone deviate from it, hey, I'll do it I'm gonna let my supervisor know. And you can call me a snitch, but I did it in a way where he needed to know. You need to
Yes,
know that this officer is out there not going by the rules.
yes.
So I don't mind reporting bad behavior. And I actually became the lieutenant over internal affairs for many years, where I addressed officers' misconduct, and I even was able to help implement new plans in place for the police department to identify officers before they get to that critical point of mistreating citizens. So
Mhm.
that had always been important to me. So God came first, and I made sure that I went by what God says first, and that's, well, you know, Halima, I treated them like they were my brother or my sister or my mother or my father. How would I wanted them to be treated?
Yes.
And I'm arresting people of all walks of life. Don't get me wrong, but you could apply that to any human being.
Yeah.
How would you want your father to be treated? Would you want him thrown on the ground and put your knee on his neck? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I never, I never will stop standing up for what is right.
Hmm. I think that is a common theme that we have to, because, the police department, not all, some of them have forgot about that
Yep.
policy of treating people with dignity. That may have been their initial step to get in, but they did not practice what they preach.
Yeah.
So, not only did you practice what you preach, you were also a part of the process, as you mentioned before, that you were able to identify these people before it got to a point where they were out of control or caused harm to someone else, correct?
Right, right. That's right. And I wasn't well liked sometimes, but guess what? I was respected. I was
Okay.
respected.
Yes. Let's talk about that, because as any of us navigates through life, you have to make decisions that sometimes you're not well liked, but you may have that respect, and people may not even respect you.
Mhm.
How do you navigate those waters of making decisions that is necessary, even though it may be 90% of the people won't be happy with you?
Mhm, mhm. How I did it on the police department was I am became very knowledgeable and of all the rules and policies in place. And then I tested and I promoted through the ranks. And I actually became the chief of police. I became David Kunkel's assistant. I was his right hand. And I helped oversee 3,500 Dallas police officers in that position, which I held for over 5 years with him, including through the death of my beloved husband that was killed in the line of duty. So, knowledge, I had knowledge, and with knowledge, when you apply it, and to officers, they have to abide or there are consequences. And I try to do it diplomatically, but with men, sometimes, they look at you as a female and you have to know exactly how to deal with them. And quite honestly, I became very skilled at it.
Yes,
I became
yes.
very skilled. I'm not the one to play with. You cannot flirt with me. I will demasculate you in the proper way because I am in charge. I am the lieutenant. This is my job. These are the rules. And let's do this together. Let's try to do the right thing. Now, remember, 95% of the officers are great. And I met some wonderful officers, but there's a 5% of bad apples that we get to see on the news that are mistreating people. And sometimes they never learn. Sometimes they
Yes.
stay on the police department and until the day they retire, and they get by with it sometimes. But not under my purview, they didn't, because I was very attentive and watchful and listened, and I would show
Yeah.
up on the scene at any time.
Yeah, I do like that you said not all of them. We all know that the squeaky wheel gets the attention, and usually that is the 5%, because they so loud and they
Yeah,
do so much. It
yes.
makes the other part of the department looks really bad, and everybody starts to point their finger at just the whole department, where it's just that 5% that's misbehaving. Another thing that I like that you talked about, and I know you're a woman of principle, when you said policies and procedures. I've been in situation personally where I had to execute, and when they come to me and say blah blah blah, I said these are the parameters and
Mhm,
policies and procedures that I work within. If
mhm.
you're telling me this is no longer valid, then I need a new written rules in place in order to execute that. So I think that's a real good thing too. When you know the knowledge, you can execute it properly and stand, as I say, 10 toes down.
There you go. Right.
So let's get back into our water boat and talk about music just one more
Okay.
time.
Hmm.
I need you to think back as a child and identify a song or an artist that you had the opportunity to purchase all on your own, meaning nobody influenced you, not your mom, not your sister, and maybe you saved some money, you had some money for Christmas, you like, ooh, this is what I want to get. You just, I mean, you couldn't wait to purchase this particular song or artist. Do you have someone in mind?
I sure do. My first purchase on my own, it came just freely. It was in 1973 when Marvin Gaye put out Let's Get It On.
Ooh.
And, it was about, at that age, I was just becoming a teenager and, becoming an adolescent, feeling those feelings of romance. So that was about romantic love. And of course, I fell in love with Marvin, but the way he sings it was so captivating. And it's still one of my favorite songs today. I didn't get an album. I didn't have enough money, but I babysitted and I had enough to get the little 45. And it was yellow, brown. I still remember it clearly playing over and over and me just swooning over him. So that's the one that I selected on my own and I purchased on my own without anyone guiding me to it.
Did you how long did you play that? Or let me ask a better question. To this day when you hear it, does it remind you of that was your like first purchase that you had the opportunity to purchase?
Oh, yes. And I have every album that Marvin Gaye made. He is one of my all-time favorite. His sister lives right here in Las Vegas, Missy.
Yes,
Love
yes.
to respect Missiola. And so I have all of his albums. And when I hear them, of course, I think back of the first song that I heard with him. But I also remembered him and Tammy Terrell even before that, and all of his music. But this is the one that I bought on my own. It's still my favorite. It's
Oh,
still my favorite.
I love it. Let's get it on.
Uh-huh.
Oh, baby. I think because it was so much energy to it. And when, whatever we do, I believe when it comes from the heart, it penetrates the next heart. And I
Yeah.
felt like he had that energy of,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. He was a remarkable artist and, unmatchable. Just the talent he had was immeasurable. And I have so much love and respect for him.
Yeah, I think he was one of the artists that you could always feel where he was or what was going on. Because I think about the song that I think he wrote to his wife, or they were splitting up, and he kind of how he just it was almost like a love letter, but still it was just like, ooh, babe. And you
Uh-huh.
get caught up in the syncopation and the
Yeah.
vibration of the song of what he's portraying. And truthfully, all this was before I was born, but I still can
Hmm.
feel the energy of it. And we call that timeless music.
Timeless music. As a matter of fact, that's one of my favorite albums that you are referring to when he was married to Anna. It's called Hear My Dear.
Yes.
And the whole album is, oh, it's so wonderful and it's so sensual. And everyone could apply this to their lives when they go through a breakup. But I have that album too. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's wonderfully done.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw while we're on music, I'm gonna throw one in that I did not provide to you before, but I'm pretty sure you can answer.
Mhm,
Um, as we talked about life, we
mhm,
have challenges
mhm.
and we are navigating life. Have you been in a moment where you like, oh Lord, today I need you? What
Yes.
song can you put on to bring up your energy or your spirit right away? And I'm saying that because you don't have the opportunity to call, in the past, it may have been your husband or your
Mhm.
mother. You had to get your spirit up all on your own. And what song would work for you?
It's two that come to mind in those low moments like that. One would be I love Howard Hewitt, Say Amen. If
Okay.
you listen to Howard Hewitt's, not the live version, the old version of Howard Hewitt, Say Amen, I was struggling with Nikki at that time. She was a young child. I was a single parent, and I was in the sacred dance choir at the church, and we did a dance to that song, and it uplifts me now to this day when I hear it, especially when I'm struggling and going through hard times. And the other one is Jesus is Love by Lionel Richie.
Ooh,
You know,
go
that
ahead.
was a good motivating song for me.
Yes, that's wonderful. I had a lady mention that song to me, I think during my first season, and she talked about how that was her grandmother's favorite.
Yes,
And whenever she hears it, it connects her to her grandmother.
yes, it's a beautiful rendition, and all the angels probably praise Lionel Richie for doing that because it's just so heavenly when you listen to the words. And Jesus is love, you know.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
We're just gonna go back and talk about your movie so we can direct them. So you guys, just so you know, she had a movie that came out on Lifetime. We all know Lifetime. They've done stuff for the Clark sisters. They've done many lifetime picks on many people, so we're giving her her flowers. She's up there if she has a lifetime movie. It came out in November of 2024. um what I do want to pick out about the movie, the young lady that actually played you, it was
Mhm.
uncanny how much she looked like you.
Yes, yes.
And she also mentioned in an interview that she would tap in with you and talk with you to get some background so she could, offer this piece or this acting piece that she executed. So, can you tell me about some things that you directed her or encouraged her to do to really give who you are?
Exactly. Well, that beautiful actress that played me is none other than Miss Karuchi Tran. And I tell you, it was so amazing that the producers picked her. I'd always seen her on Claws, you know, and I knew she was Chris Brown's ex-girlfriend. And I was so honored that they picked her. And from the first interview we did together, we connected. And, you know, her mannerisms are similar to mine. I'm a little more verbose. She's very, you know, she's quiet, but so was I in a certain way. But when I needed to be loud and forceful, I am. But let me tell you, the best thing that Karuchi did was she asked me for my playlist.
Stop it, your music playlist? Come on now.
And if you listen to that interview she did in LA, she said she asked me for that playlist, and I sent her all of my favorites, of course, Marvin Gaye, and some of them she, you know, Prince. She mentioned Prince was on there. And so she got to know me because it took me 2 days. I wanted to really make this real to her what music really motivated me because I love all music. Even, you know, I have some from the movie Out of Africa that I meditate with and walk my exercise with. So she got a feel from my spiritual side all the way down through today's music, which I'm very in tune with. You know, I put her on there, all the latest on there. So it took me 2 days to put that list together. She listened to it all, and she was able to tap into my spirit. And there were some parts in the movie where she looked just like me. And her expressions, my daughters would say, "That's just like you, Mom." So, you know, it was beautifully done by Miss Carucci Tran, and I'm so thankful that she was able to play my role.
That's wonderful. As we sum this part of that up, are you happy with what they produce and is it accurate from your perspective?
Okay, I am so happy that the movie has been produced because on several platforms. Number one, my side of the story is finally being told because I had a partner. He wrote a book back early on, and it's there. And he has his perspective on it from his point of view, and I have my perspective from a female point of view. And I'm so thankful that my side of the story is out because it was truly my connection with the other girls. We were the prostitutes and I, we were all about the same age, and they were able to relate to me and they trusted me because I also tried to help them get jobs because there were job opportunities in that area that I was aware of. And I would say, please, try to change your lifestyle because it's a dangerous lifestyle. You are much better than this. I tried to give them guidance. And so they trusted me. And they're the ones that came to me easily. The first morning that the girl was killed, I saw Veronica Rodriguez, and she came to the car. She had a cut on her head. He was trying to get her too. And so I wrote down everything that she told me. That information was critical to the case being solved early on with the first girl, Mary Pratt, being killed because she was there with her. She had to escape through a drain hole, and I saw
Mm,
her the next morning. And so it was about trust with the girl. So from that aspect, the movie could have been done a lot of different ways. Number one, it wasn't scary at all, but in real life, it was horrifying.
I bet.
City of Dallas were petrified with fear over this serial killer cutting these girls' eyeballs out. So, Lifetime is a very soft station. They don't show too many harsh things. So, in that aspect, if a producer did this in real life, the serial killer would have been much more scarier than what was shown. And number two, the reason I'm glad they did the movie is it's more about me and my daughter. It's more about the love I have for my daughter and the love and concern that she had for me growing up as a daughter of a police officer. And it showed the tender connection. And Carucci was at her highest point, showing that love with the wonderful little actress that played my daughter. It was so heartwarming and
Oh,
it was so true. And so I'm so happy the story is really more about a single mother going through all kind of obstacles to make a better life for me and my daughter. And that's the most reason I'm so thankful to the producers. Connor Allen, he has tried to get this movie produced for over 7 years. Connor
wow.
Allen out of Hollywood, California, along with Howard Bronstein out of Canada, where it was actually filmed. So it was three producers, Connor Allen, Benjamin Anderson, and Howard Bronstein, and they're all experienced producers. But Connor is the one that had the dream. He still stuck with it. It was I signed 4 lifetime agreements, like life rights agreements before the movie was actually made. But we finally did it. So
Oh,
he did it
wow.
because he knew number one. What I demanded being there was the love of me and my daughter and the death of my husband. Now,
Yes.
that part wasn't, if there was any regret in the movie, it was that part. Because in reality, my husband and I were happily married for 18 and a half years. And the movie made it seem like we were just married for a very short time. But I met the love of my life on the Dallas Police Department when I met Senior Corporal Norman Smith. I met him at jail bringing a prostitute in, and he had
Oh,
just
stop it.
yes, and I felt butterflies when I met him. I didn't never had that feeling before. I never was a flirt or anything on the at work, and I wasn't then. But it was meant for us to be because he came over to me after I told him about the prostitute. He was a jailer, and he had to unhook my handcuffs to take him into custody for the county, and he was a county jailer. So he came back where I was writing the police report where they're prohibited from coming back there. But he was, let me tell you, he was 6'5", gorgeous, blue eyes, and he was so handsome. And he came over to me while I was writing that report, and the jail sergeants were glaring at him because he had no business being over there. But who was going to mess with him? Because he was 6 times. And he asked me for my phone number.
Oh, he wouldn't let this pretty woman get by.
Yeah. And do you know, I looked up at him and I told you I felt butterflies when I saw him because I go to jail every day and I never seen him before. And I pulled out from my police wallet, I pulled out a picture of my daughter. And this is what I said to him. I said, "You see this picture right here?" It was a picture of Nikki, and she was like 4 years old. I said, "If you understand that God comes first, then my daughter, then yes, you can have my phone."
Come on, listen, lay it on the line. Listen, it
It's
don't
in the
get no better
movie.
than that. You
It's
let
in
them
the
know up front.
movie. Yes, ma'am. God first, then my daughter, then you. Okay. And that's in the movie as well. They could have made it a little more emphasized, but it's in the movie as well because that's the truth. And so the part about my husband, I wish it's a love story in itself. If you Google my husband's name and me, there are so many articles when he was killed in the line of duty in 2009 about our love story because it was a very unique and I get tearful thinking about it. I miss him every day. So part of my platform, Miss Hallema, is dealing with tragedy and loss as a result of violent crime. He was killed serving a warrant by a drug dealer when they were serving the warrant. He was killed instantly on duty, but I've never gotten over that. It has impacted my life and my daughter's life in such a significant way. It takes constant healing. It
Mhm.
takes constant self-examination to move on from tragedy like that.
Is that because you have dealt with that? Is that something you're looking to share with other families or single mothers or
It,
widower to say you can recover and here's the process for it? Are you working in that realm at all?
Yes, that's exactly what my platform is and will continue to be until the day that I die. Because I want to try to uplift women who are going through hard times and obstacles, like I did, just trying to make it for my daughter as a single parent. I also came from a domestic violence background. My father abused my beautiful mother. So I always want to uplift women that have gone through domestic violence and give them a pathway out of that terrible cycle. And then
Yes.
finally, grief, loss, and tragic loss as a result of violent crime. I want to be able to get help for women, all people who need that, and have psychologists and therapists there at their disposal. And that is my goal, to have a platform available. I've done a few podcasts starting that process since the movie, and I would like help to expound upon that because I still want to, I've always wanted to help people, and I still want to help people because I've been through it all, and everyone has gone through some horrific things in life, sad things, tragic things, but I try my best to keep a positive attitude about
Yes.
it and try to be motivating to others and help in any way that I can.
Well, I tell you what, just listening to your story and talking with you and your daughter, baby, you don't look like what you've been through, okay?
Well, thank you.
And that I believe when I run into women that are beautiful inside and out, I contribute that to having a relationship with God. Or
Yes,
if they don't believe in God, a higher source that
yes,
has kept them and kept their mind right. Because any of us, we can be in situations that can take us to the left or
right.
to the right, and we don't have a peaceful mind. So you have exhibit not only the ability to be a beautiful lady that has smarts, has a projection that you take care of business and you stand on business.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. So I bless you. I continue to send good energy your way so you can execute and help other women in that platform. But before we get out of here, I do have one last question.
Okay.
If you had the opportunity to dedicate a song to the world, whether it's parts of you or all of you, what song would you dedicate to the world today?
A beautiful question. And I have selected What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love by Dionne Warwick.
Ooh, that is a good one. What the world needs.
Needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. Well, I told you I can't.
Yeah.
But I love that. It's so meaningful and it's so needed in the world today.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, everything is about distraction, and we need to get back to the source, which is love, which is healing, which is elevation. So I love that selection that you picked. Before we get out of here, your daughter has already provided me with all your social media links, but if you can just give a rundown, if you would like to. Um, Also, I don't know if your daughter wants to get on camera, she or talk about anything. She's a wonderful, beautiful lady I've been connecting with on your behalf. Is she does she
She
want to
don't
jump on
have
camera?
She doesn't want to, Nikki. She
If she
doesn't.
doesn't, if she doesn't, it is okay. I do have your information that
Okay.
she has provided, and I will make sure I put all your social media links.
Yes,
I will
ma'am.
put the connection to the Lifetime video. You guys, excuse me, Lifetime movie that came out in November of 2024. It's called Searching for a Serial Killer. I want to make sure you guys tap in and go into detail. I would not be able to do it justice here on my platform. So we just talked about little parts. My main thing was to be able to give you sincerely who she is and find out her background and her desires and her platform or where she stands on and what she believes in. But before we get out of here, I do want to talk about the journey and the destination.
Hmm.
The journey is where we learn and where we grow. The destination is where we celebrate. Far, far too often, we don't get a chance to enjoy anything because we're not celebrating our milestones. We're just going past it. You gotta celebrate. You gotta do that. But when it's all said and done, you got to get back into that journey so we can continue to learn, continue to elevate, continue to be able to help people in the highest form. So I believe in that process. When I have my men on, I salute them. When I have my women on, I bow. So I bow to you, beautiful, beautiful lady. And before we get out of here, do you have any last words you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I want to thank you, Hallema, for having me as a guest speaker. I've enjoyed speaking with you. It's like speaking to my sisters. Okay. And feel free to contact me anytime if there's any more interest in the story, because we only hit on the surface.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and I'm going to hold you to it because I have it recorded.
Yes, I'll be glad to. I love to talk, as you know. But I would like to say to everyone, always put God first and simply do your very best. Reach for the highest star and do the best you can, and don't shortchange it. Do your utmost always, and treat people with dignity and respect. Those are the things that I would like to leave everyone with, because it all pays off in the highest form.
I love it. She said, dignity, respect, connect to God. I think this is absolutely wonderful. You guys, please, please put your hands together and thank my remarkable guest that came in to just share bits and pieces of her life to encourage you. Put your hands together and thank retired Lieutenant Regina.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And as I say to all of my guests, I'll see you out here in these Las Vegas streets.
Got that right.
Thank you.